All right, you guys. In this video, I'm going to go over the different types of evidence that you should look for when researching. All right, so when you write a research paper or conduct a research project, it's always beneficial to gather plenty of evidence. Evidence is used to support your main ideas or your arguments, your main points. In a body paragraph, when you write, it's organized as topic, sentence, and then claim, evidence, and analysis. Those are then repeated throughout your paragraph. But when researching the different types of evidence that you should look for, there are 4. The first one is shocking statistics. The next is expert testimony. The third is specific examples. And the fourth is key events or facts. So I'm going to give some examples of each of the 4. Okay, so the first one is shocking statistics. You should look for numbers, percentages, rates, or studies. These are usually the easiest to spot when you're skimming or scanning through an article to see if you actually want to use that article for research. These are the easiest to spot because numbers stick out. Percentages, rates, they're easy to identify. They're also useful because they are hard to dispute. People usually can't disagree with statistics depending on the source. Here are some examples that I want you to write down on your notes sheet. Maybe just write one example down, okay? It is estimated that 83% of the population will be overweight by the time they reach their 25th birthday. Okay, that 83%, right? Percentages, statistics, okay. Numbers, yay math. Another example, a recent study of 1,500 high school students indicated that 84% of males admitted to cheating compared with only 72% of girls. So again, identify numbers, percentages, rates, or studies. So copy one of those examples down in your notes. Moving on, the next type of evidence is expert testimony, like I said. These are typically quotes given directly by an expert. But in order to identify if someone is an expert or just an everyday Joe, you should watch for the credentials of the speaker. Their credentials are typically written near or around the name. And credentials are like qualifications of a speaker, meaning what makes them qualified to speak about your topic. Why should we believe them? Be careful to avoid opinions from speakers without proper credentials, meaning if they're not certified or necessarily an expert. Avoid those. Here are some examples. So I have Harold Clark, an environmental scientist, says that non-renewable energy sources will run out in as little as 12 years. Okay, why is Harold Clark an expert? Well, because he is an environmental scientist. Says it right by his name. Another example, Arthur Hobbs, professor of sociology at Harvard, indicates that coronavirus is a problem mostly in inner cities in the United States, as rural areas haven't seen as many cases yet. This PowerPoint is rather old, but Arthur Hobbs, what are his credentials? Why should we believe him? Well, he's a professor of sociology at Harvard, okay? So expert testimonies are typically quotes given by an expert, and you need to verify that the person is an expert and not just your average Joe, okay? The third type of evidence is specific examples, and these are the stories of your average everyday Joes, okay? So watch for people's names. These are usually stories of people who have firsthand experience related to the topic you are researching. Look for the words "for example" within an article to indicate this type of evidence. It might be firsthand experience living in poverty, or firsthand experience within the prison system. Whatever your topic is, if you're looking for specific examples, look for personal stories of your average everyday Joes or Sallys, okay? So I have, for example, Omar Peterson, a student at Yale, drinks at least 4 bottles of water a week, okay? He's not necessarily an expert, though he is studying at an Ivy League school like Yale, but he's just a student, and he drinks at least 4 bottles of water every week. Another one, for example, Mike Iverson, a resident of New Jersey, uses a balance of non-renewable and renewable energy sources in his day-to-day life. So look for people's names and look for their personal story that they shared with the public. They have firsthand experience related to the topic you're researching. The last type of evidence is key events and facts. So when you're identifying key events and facts, watch for dates, definitions, or general important knowledge. These can sometimes be a combination with other types of evidence, so it can be like a combination of a key event and a statistic, or a fact with a statistic, or a fact with specific examples. So here is an example. In 2011, about 20 million people spent money on lotteries every week. Okay, so this one is a fact. It has a date in there, right, in the year 2011. But it's also a statistic. 20 million people spent money on lotteries every week. Another example, since most elite colleges require students to have 3.5 GPA or higher, many students feel that even 1 or 2 bad grades might eliminate them as candidates to certain colleges. So this one is a fact, right? But it's also kind of mixed in with a specific example. With many students feel that 1 or 2 bad grades might eliminate them. It's kind of their experience and their feelings and thoughts. Okay? So the 4 types of evidence reviewing, we had shocking statistics, expert testimonies, specific examples, and key events or facts. It's important that when you are researching that you still include citations. You can directly quote your evidence by using quotation marks, but you can also put your evidence in your own words by paraphrasing the main ideas that you want. You don't need the quotation marks at all when you paraphrase evidence, but you still need a citation, okay? Without citations, your paper or your project is plagiarized because you are claiming that the information from your sources as your own. Turning in a research paper or a project without citations will result in a 0. A works cited page must be turned in as well that correctly reflects your citations. Using ellipses and brackets the right way. So you can use ellipses to indicate that you have eliminated words from the original quote. So from your evidence, you maybe took out words that weren't crucial to your main point. Ellipses also indicate a pause when speaking or writing. To omit unnecessary words or to omit unnecessary sentences, you can use ellipses. However, you never want to omit or take out words or phrases or sentences that will change the context or the facts of a quote. And lastly, you can use brackets to indicate that you have changed a word in the original quote in order to make it make sense. We practiced this with the last essay that we just wrote, and I do want to continue to see you practicing this skill. Okay? That is all I have for you. Now you need to check out the PowerPoint on source credibility and take notes on that.